Okay, so let's begin the topic. It's a unit 2, right? 4-7 unit 2, and the topic name is called as a strange meeting, which is written by WILFRED OWEN, OWEN. So the first question is, what do you think that the title strange meeting refers to? Or what do you mean by that? And how do you think that when you read the poem Strange Meeting, so what is the reason of giving this title? So that is the first question. Whenever you go for any of the poem, you would find out. So if I talk about this point, the title Strange Meeting. So the title Strange Meeting is a very apt in this poem because the poem describes an unusual and unexpected meeting or encounter between whom? Between the speaker and a soldier, right? From the enemy side. So the meeting happens in a dark, eerie place, dark and odd, eerie place that feels like hell, where the two men, like I pointed, speaker and a soldier, and the soldier, who were once enemies in battle, right? So now face each other after death. Now, the meeting is strange. Why? Because it reveals the suffering, shared suffering, and the humanity of both soldiers. So they share what? That how do they suffer? And they share how the soldiers, right? How both enemy side soldiers do have the humanity, right? Kindness, we say. It shows that war causes what? Pain. It shows just what? War causes pain for everyone, no matter which side one belongs to or which side they all are on, right? So it is stated as the strange as it highlights the unexpected nature of this meeting and the deep emotional connection they form in the afterlife. Right. Now, obviously, it also sounds so strange when we say that what? That they shared their suffering, they shared their pains, they shared their humanity after death. It means after death, how? Now, that is what the poet narrates, or you can say describes through this poem, which is called as a strange. Well, it is a kind of a poem, you can say that poignant reflection, right? Poignant in the sense you can say kind of an emotion which is connected on the shared suffering of soldiers in any of the war, regardless of which sides they are on. It criticizes the senseless and destructive nature of war. Because why do you do the war? What is the outcome that you draw? Power, you want to show the power, right? So, therefore, the poet here wanted to convey the message that, or criticizes that what? The war is nothing but a senseless. No sense is present in this. And because of the war, what happened? Means the surrounding turns destructive in nature. Isn't it? So it also shows how soldiers on both sides, you consider the other one is your enemy, and they consider you are their enemy. In both sides, you both are nothing but the victims. Victims of what? The same cruelty, anger, hatredness, isn't it? And you can also say despair, miserable situation, sad situation, right? So the meeting in hell is symbolic. Meeting in hell means what? Now, understand that the destructive nature surrounded, and in that destructive surrounding, you find out two of the enemies face to each other, injured, amputate, and succumb to death. Succumb to death means what? Causing to die. So for them, it's nothing but the hell, isn't it? So that is what it shows, that what, or it shows the meeting in hell is symbolic of the mental and emotional soul vortex. So it leaves both sides lost in a dark and hopeless place. Right? So that is what the whole poem, or the theme of the poem, or the conclusion that we draw from this point. So let's go to the brief information about the poem. So the poem begins with what? Strange Meeting by WILFRED Owen. It seemed that out of battle I escaped down some profound dull tunnel, long since scooped through granites which titanic wars had groined. Yet also there encumbered the sleeper's groan, too fast in thought or death to be bestirred. Then, as I proved then, one sprang up and stared with a piteous recognition in fixed eyes, lifting distressful hands as if to bless. And by his smile, I knew that solemn hurl. By his dead smile, I knew we stood in hell. With 1,000 fears, that vision's face was grained, yet no blood reached there from the upper ground, and no guns thumped or down the flues made moan. Strange friend, I said, here is no cause to mourn. None, said that other. Said the undone years, the hopelessness. Whatever hope is yours was my life also. I went hunting wild after the wildest beauty in the world, which lies not calm in eyes or braided hair, but mocks the steady running of the hour, and if it grieves richlier than here. For by my glee might many men have laughed, and of my weeping something had been left, which must die now. I mean the truth unfold. The pity of war, the pity was distilled. Now men will go content with what we spoiled, or discontent, or boil bloody and be spilled. They will be swift with the swiftness of the tigress. None will break ranks, though nations trek from progress. Courage was mine, and I had mystery. Wisdom was mine, and I had mastery. To miss the march of this retreating world into vain citadels that are not walled. Then, when much blood had clutched their chariot wheels, I would go up and wash them from sweet wells. Even with the truths that lie too deep for taint, I would have poured my spirit without stint. But not through wounds, not on the cess of war, for heads of men have blade where no wounds were. I am the enemy you killed, my friend. I knew you in this dark, for so you frowned. Yesterday through me, as you jabbed and killed, I parried, but my hands were low and cold. Let us sleep now. Right. Now you find out that Strange Meeting, which is written by Wilfred Owen, who means you can say that it is a powerful anti-war poem. What kind of a poem? Anti-war poem. How do you know that? The war leads to the destruction and suffering and death of many soldiers. Indicate nothing but what? Means the outcome. The outcome is war doesn't have any good outcome, right? So therefore, it is known as a powerful anti-war poem. Clear? So, and it explodes the horror and futility war. Horror and futility war. If you look in this poem, the speaker experiences what? The speaker experiences a dream-like meeting, right? Dream-like meeting with a what or who? with a dead enemy. So, dead enemy soldier in a mysterious, hellish place, isn't it? Now, let's go to the complete discussion of it. The first line stated, it seemed that out of battle I escaped. It seemed that out of battle I escaped down some profound dull tunnel, long since scooped, through granites which titanic words had groined. So, what does the speaker point out here? The speaker describes an escape from the battle. It seemed that out of battle I escaped. It means what? The speaker describes an escape from the battle. Now, what is the escape? That called as a death, isn't it? So, down some profound tunnel, long since scooped. So, he pointed that moving through a tunnel, you understand? So, moving through a tunnel that appears to have been, carved through solid rock. That how the tunnel was made through the what? Through solid rock. So, and through which he was moving through. And it suggests the long lasting and deep scats of road, deep scats of war, isn't it? So, it suggests what? The long lasting and deep scats of war. So, it means the tunnel was made, or the tunnel was held because of the what? Because of the war, isn't it? So, and the mention of titanic wars, it is stated at the end that through granite which titanic wars had a groin. So, granite means what? That called as a bump, isn't it? Through granite which titanic wars had groin. It means that the titanic war implies monumental conflict. Monumental conflict, monument, you understand? That's something called as a statue, old statue, or called as a historical historical monument, we generally say. So, Titanic War implies what? Monumental conflicts that have shaped the desolate place. Desolate place means the place which is empty, right? So, in that case, the poet wanted to say means the poet escaped from the battle, moving through a tunnel that appears to have been decorated or created through solid rock, and it suggests nothing but a long-lasting and deep scars of war. Right? It means we are talking about the tunnel. So, and the person also who went or who moved through that tunnel, so was having nothing but an injured. So, it is also said that that idea indicates here monumental conflicts, or you can say that historical places, which is nothing but the region of the war that have saved the place empty. Desolate. Desolate means called as empty. It is also said that yet also encumbered sleepers groan. Yet also their encumbered sleepers groan. Too fast in thought or dead to be bestirred. Right. So, yet also their encumbered sleepers grown too fast in thought or dead to be disturbed. It means the speaker meeting sleepers. The speaker meetings or encountered sleepers. So, what do you mean by sleepers? Maybe or possibly dead or severely. She wanted to be. Okay. So the speaker encounters what? The sleepers. Sleepers means what? You can say dead bodies, right? So maybe some are alive, some are wounded, isn't it? Or some are dead or some are wounded. So who are unable to move or react. And these speakers are described what? These speakers described as too trapped in their thoughts or too close to death to respond. Isn't it? So very soon they are also going to die, isn't it? Now, who meet whom? The speaker meets the people who are either dead or called as a wounded, right? And the poet also stated that their appearance seemed like very soon they are going to die, isn't it? Now, after that, that is why it is stated, yet also their encumbered sleepers groaned, and those who were also wounded, they are also shouting, groaned, isn't it? So too fast is thought or dead to be best up. It means very soon they are going to die. Then as I flew to them, one sprang up and stared with piteous recognition in fixed eyes, lifting distressful hands as if to bless. So the speaker goes near one of these figures. One of these figures means one of these sleepers, right, who are died or maybe called as wounded, isn't it? Who suddenly awakens with a look of recognition. So identified. The figure seems to be nothing but in emotional distress, right? So almost as if trying to place or reach out to the speaker in some way. Like when you find out you are in a death situation and you find out somebody who is might be the enemy or maybe unknown person, you feel happy that somebody is there to help you or maybe somebody who is trying to rescue, isn't it? So here also you find out that the figure means immediately in emotional distress and almost as if trying to blaze or reach out to the speaker in some way, isn't it? And by his smile, I knew that sullen Hall, sullen, S-U-L-L-E-N, sullen Hall. By his dead smile, I knew we stood in hell. We stood in hell. So the point wanted to say that the smile of the figure is described as what? Dead. The smile of the figure is described as dead. It means it's empty and lifeless. The body is empty and lifeless. And the speaker realizes that what? They are not in a peaceful place, but in hell. But in a hell. So, and this hell is nothing but a metaphorical or directly comparison or directly symbolizing what? The destruction and suffering caused by war. So they are in a place which is destructive, or you can say completely destroyed, or the place which is nothing but hellish, right? Where the bodies are means wounded and dead bodies are means lying here and there, isn't it? With 1,000 fears that vision space was grained, with 1,000 fears that vision space was grained, yet no blood reached there from the upper ground, and no guns thumped or down the flues made moan. So the speaker's fear is palpable, right? Checking. The speaker's fear is palpable, but the scene is what? But the scene is strangely quiet, right? Silent. So there are no sound of battle, no blood flowing, and no gunfire. So this emphasizes what? The eerie. So eerie stillness. So when you find out the whole places or the place is completely calm and silent, it makes you also feel strange, isn't it? Eerie stillness and suggests that the horrors of war are not just physical but deeply psychological, isn't it? So not only physical, you are not wounded, you are not dead. So because of your dead body, people also find out nothing but psychologically traumatized, isn't it? So the poet here stated that strange friend, I said, the speaker said, strange friend, here is no cause to mourn. No cause to mourn. Mourn means feel sad. So none, that other said. So said the undone years, the hopelessness, whatever hope is yours was my life also. Right. So the speaker addresses the figure as a what? The speaker addresses the figure as a strange friend. Right. So suggesting a recognition of shared experience. So the figure responds saying that there is nothing to mourn. Right. So except the wasted years of life and the hopelessness of that situation. So the idea of hope being something that both of them once had it emphasized. So I went hunting wild after the wildest beauty in the world, which lies not calm in eyes or braided hair, but mocks the steady running of the hour. So the figure reflects on how he once wanted after beauty and excitement in life. So once also he was very excited. Once he was also moving after beauty, right? So I went hunting wild after the wildest beauty in the world. So I wanted what? Means, the figure reflects what? That called as how the figure once moving after the nature's beauty. So, and uh, live in his youth time, youngest time. He was excited in his life. So, which is chaotic and fleeting. Chaotic means what? Whatever he, wanted. All these things are nothing but confused, right? All these things are nothing but passed very quickly. So, it is not found in superficial things like appearances, but in something deeper that passes the passage of time. So, what does the poet want to convey here? The poet conveys that that the figure with whom the speaker, makes the conversation. So, this figure means narrates his experience by stating that once he was young, once he was huge dream, once he was, means looking for the beauty, once he was excitement in his life. But all these things are nothing but full of chaotic, full of confusion, and passes with the time, right? So, means very quickly it passes with the time. It is not found in a superficial things, right? Like appearance, but in something deeper that passes or eludes in passage of time. The poet said, and if it grips richlier than here, richlier. So, and if it grips richlier than here, for by my glee might many men have laughed, and of my weeping something had been left which must die now. So, the figure with whom the poet uh, makes the conversation, this figure believes that the grief means sadness, and joy, that called as happiness. So he said that the grief and joy he experienced in life were much richer than the emptiness of war. So it means he wanted to convey that war did not give you the same kind of experience that the experience which he draw or means he had drawn means in his young age, right? So he feels sad that the potential for joy and sorrow in his life has been lost, isn't it? Because war took everything from him. So means sadness and happiness both are nothing but present in life. But that again brings you the experience that gives you nothing but the enjoyment. But when you uh, when you engage yourself in the war, so that war took everything from you, isn't it? So, and now all of it must die with him. All of it means whatever the desire. He wanted to spend time with his family. He wanted to serve for his children. He wanted to means make his family or parents happy. But all those things were means taken from him, isn't it? Or what took everything from him? So I mean the truth untold, the pity of war, the pity war distilled. So the poet also stated the figure speaks of the untold. The figure speaks of the untold. Untold what? Untold truth of war. So which is its inherent pity. Inherent pity means what? That's something called as a inherent means something which is automatically come in a sadness, pity. So war is not just about death and destruction. War is what? Now, it is also about suffering. It is also about humanity lost in the process. Right? Process means what? During the war, humanity lost. Isn't it? Kindness lose. So now men will go content with what we spoiled. Now men will go content. Content means called as a satisfied. Right. Now men will go content with what we spoiled or discontent boiled bloody and be spilled. They will be swept with the swiftness of the tigress. None will break ranks, though nations trek from progress. So the figure also cynically suggests. Cynically means what? Full of pessimistic, full of negative minded. The the poet stated that the figure is nothing but a full of negativity and suggests that after the war, people will either accept what? Either accept or be angry about the destruction that has occurred. Isn't it? Now people accept that, okay, this is supposed to be happened, right? Or some people are there who show their anger towards whom? Yeah, to the particular person or particular kingdom, particular country, isn't it? So you would find out that means either accept or be angry about the destruction that has occurred. So the poet also said that they will be swift. They will be swift and swiftness of the tigress. It is stated, no, they will be swift with the swiftness of the tigress. It means they will be swift and fierce. Swift and fierce means called as they will forget, or maybe means they will carry the fear in their mind, right? Fears, terrible thought. But they will also remain rigid and unchanging, right? Which is stated, no, none will break ranks. None will break ranks means they will also remain rigid and unchanging, unable to break free from the cycle of violence. Okay, so they will be swift with the swiftness of the tigress, right? So it means when you say that swiftness, swiftness means what? There's something called as a swift is called as a moving like a wind and with the swiftness of the tigress. Yes. Raju sir, I think accurate officer. Puruna building. Say it to you. Paro. Sure. Right now, 88953 52971 971 triple eight kondalu 8895 5297. Yeah. So when we talk about the phrase that called as to swift with the swiftness of the tigress, that means the poet wants to say that moving with a great speed, something that moves with a great speed and agility. Like when you are talking about tigress, no? So tigress have nothing but called as agility, Agility. And when it moves very fast, isn't it? So like a tigress in the wild, right? In a jungle. So it conveys the idea that people acting quickly, right? People acting quickly with a fierce, terrible determination and urgency. In the context of the poem, you can say it suggests that after the war, people will act with a rapid, violent energy, but without fully understanding or addressing the consequences of their action. Isn't it? So, the comparison of tigress or the comparison of a tigress that emphasizes what? Both speed and predatory. Predator, you understand? Speed and a predatory and instinctive nature. Right? So, yeah. So that is what it is stated. They will be swift and fierce, but they will also remain rigid and unchanging, unable to break free from the cycle of violence. So they will again do the same thing, isn't it? Even as the societies fail to progress. So the poet stated that courage was mine. Courage was mine and I had mystery. Courage was mine and I had mystery. Wisdom was mine and I had mastery. So to miss the march of this retreating world into vain citadels that are not well. So the figure stated that what the figure reflects on the courage. The figure reflects on what that called the mystery. The figure also reflects on wisdom and mastery. Right? So, what are the things? Courage, mystery, wisdom, and mastery. All those things are nothing but called as the qualities which he wants hard. Who wants hard? The figure. The figure wants hard because here the conversation between whom? The speaker and the figure. So, but all of it, you can say that wisdom was mine and I had mastery. To miss the march of this retreating world into vain citadels that are not what? It means, but all of it now feels pointless, useless. He speaks of a world that retreating into empty. He feels what, or he speaks the kind of a world, or any of the world, retreating into empty, defenseless places. So, when the poet stated that into vain citadels that are not world, so the poet wanted to say that vain citadels where people continue to act as though they are safe. So even though they are not, isn't it? Now you find out that means many people have died because of this war, and many people consider that what the means consider it's something like a supposed to be happening. Many people show the anger. Many people means consider that this is what happened so that we are safe, right or not? So, and they consider that what it makes them safe, right? So, but at the same time, it is not, isn't it? So the poet again said that then when much blood had clutched their chariot wheels, I would go up and wash them from sweet wells, even with the truths that lie too deep or tent. So the speaker again speaks of the bloodshed. Bloodshed means that called is a blood bath. So, and how he would have attempted to what? Attempted to cleanse it. Cleanse it means what? Clean the place. So, the figure speaks of the bloodshed and how he would have attempted to cleanse it, even with the deep truths that could not be corrupted. So, this could be seen as an attempt to what? Redeem or purify the aftermath of war. Right. So, people die, many people wounded, right? And after the war happened, what happened? So, they try to clean that place, isn't it? So, I would have poured my spirit. I would have poured my spirit without stint, but not through wounds, not on the cess of war. So the figure again expresses his desire. What is his desire? To have poured his energy. Poured means what? To provide use with his energy and spirit into something which is meaningful, but not through the pain and destruction of war. For heads of men have played, for heads of men have played where no wounds were. So the poet here stated that the emotional and psychological scars, you understand that the wound which spotted on your body. So similar to that, but this is the kind of a scars which is not visible. The emotional and psychological scars of war are deeper and more spread, more pervasive. More pervasive means present in everywhere, right? And it is more dangerous than, you can say that, physical injuries. Which one is more dangerous than physical injuries? That called as emotional and psychological scars, isn't it? People are suffering and their minds and hearts are wounded. Minds and hearts are wounded, not because of the weapon or not because of the hitting of the weapon, but because of what? The consequences of the war, isn't it? Even if no visible wounds are present, right? So, I'm the enemy, you killed my friend. I'm the enemy, you killed my friend. I knew you in this dark. I knew you in this dark. For so you frowned yesterday through me as you jabbed and killed. Now, this is something called as a climatic situation, right? Or climatic revelation. So the figure reveals himself as the very enemy soldier the speaker killed in the past. Yankar Boruch, Takura Yaparava. Yes, sir. Okay, so now this is the climatic revelation, and where you would find out the figure reveals himself as the what? Very enemy soldier the speaker killed in the past, isn't it? So the speaker recognizes the figure as a representation of the soldier, right? Representation of the soldier he once fought against. So, and that shows nothing but a tragic futility of war. Tragic futility means terrible situation of war, right? So I parried, but my hands were loath and cold. I parried, but my hands were loath and cold. Let us sleep now. Let us sleep now. Now, the speaker remembers that how he meets that soldier in battle. So, where he fought, but he felt repulsed by the act of killing, right? But at the same time, he found out nothing but the repulse. He got the kind of chilling feel, a chilling feeling, you can say, the act of killing. So both men, who the speaker and the figure, now in the afterlife, now in the afterlife, ask for peace. They both desire for peace and wishing to what? Wishing to sleep, because that is what at the end said, let us sleep now. So wishing to sleep and escape the continuous cycle of suffering that is caused because of the war, isn't it? So in that case you would find out, means it clearly gives us the anti-war point, right? And how through the kind of a conversation between the poet and the speaker and the figure, it realizes that we will not draw or we will not get any outcome when we fight with each other. That may be war, that may be common enmity, isn't it? So therefore it is known as a poignant reflection, right? A kind of a emotional reflection, right? That are shared by those of the suffering of soldiers in the war, right? Regardless of which side they belong to, regardless means which side they are on. So it shows nothing but a purely a kind of a criticism to what? Criticism to this senseless and destructive nature, right? It shows how soldiers on both sides are victims of the same cruelty and despair, isn't it? And the meeting in hell is symbolic of the mental and emotional pain that war takes from the soldiers, right? Living both sides in a kind of a situation where they feel themselves in a darkness. So, and hopelessness. Hope you understood this. Which one, which line I was telling about that? Monumental. Let me see that line. I told you now the word called as a Titanic wars. Right. When we talk about the line called as, it seemed that outer battle I escaped down some profound dull tunnel long since scooped through granites which Titanic wars had ruined. So what does it try to say? That when you point out about the monument, so it refers to something which is very large, monumental, no? So something which is very large, something which is very important, something which is very significant, and often in terms of its what? Size, impact, and you can say that lasting effect. You can say that what here the Titanic wars is referring as a monumental. When you talk about means, Titanic wars, it is Titanic means what? Titanic is a huge and big ship, isn't it? Now, when you say that Titanic wars, that refers to what? Massive, powerful, and large scale wars that have had a significant and a lasting impact, isn't it? And in the context of the poem, you would find out it suggests that these monumental wars, it means the wars which would be remembered forever. Let's say that Taj Mahal, the Taj Mahal, isn't it? Which was created means a long ago. But whoever created it, the story behind it still be remembered, isn't it? Now, similar to that, when we talk about Titanic wars, which would be referred as the monumental wars, because those kind of wars have caused nothing but a widespread destruction. Just remember World War One and World War Two, isn't it? How that's still being remembered, isn't it? So, because of those kind of wars that have caused widespread destruction and suffering, and stepping nothing but a bleak and desolate environment. So the whole surrounding turns nothing but a barren land, empty land. So the speaker finds himself in that. Therefore, he said that this would be known as the monumental. This would be known as a Titanic wars, right? So the wars are not just physical battles, but are symbolic, because people will remember, isn't it? So of the deep scars left on the land and the people involved, isn't it? And contributing nothing but the terrible atmosphere. So that described in that particular line of the book. But fine, guys, that's all for the day. I hope you understood.